Ryan
this.
stood
You
in
need
the
to see this
kitchen
now.
washing dishes
What is
after
it?
another
This
quiet
can't be
dinner
right.
when Emily walked in with that look, nervous tension. The same look she had worn for weeks now, but tonight something felt different in the air between them. He dried his hands on the towel and turned to face his wife of 7 years, waiting for whatever bomb she was about to drop. Emily fidgeted with her wedding ring, anxious breathing, and finally spoke the words that would change everything. "Ryan, we need to talk. I care about you so much, but I think we should just be friends." Voice cracking. "Jake needs me right now, and I realize I never really got over what we had." The dish towel fell from Ryan's hands. Shocked silence. His mind raced, trying to process what he'd just heard. Jake? Her ex-boyfriend from college? The guy she swore was ancient history when they first started dating? That Jake needed her more than her own husband? Did those words really just come out of her mouth? "You want to throw away 7 years of marriage for your ex?" Ryan felt his heart pounding in his chest like a drum. "Emily, you made vows to me. We built a life together. How can you just walk away from all of that for someone from your past?" Emily looked down at the floor, unable to meet his eyes, crying softly. "It's not that simple, Ryan. Jake is going through something really difficult right now, and when we reconnected on social media a few months ago, all those old feelings came rushing back. I never meant for this to happen, but I can't deny what my heart is telling me anymore." A few months? Ryan felt like someone had punched him in the stomach. "So you've been talking to him behind my back for months, planning this whole thing while I thought everything was fine between us?" Bitter laugh. How could I have been so blind? The woman he loved, the woman he thought would be by his side forever, was choosing another man. Emily tried to reach for his hand, but Ryan pulled away. Angry footsteps. He walked to the window, staring out at the darkening sky, wondering how his perfect life had just crumbled into dust. What people don't understand is that betrayal doesn't just hurt in the moment. It rewrites your entire history together. Every smile, every kiss, every promise suddenly becomes questionable. Ryan was learning this painful lesson in real time as his world collapsed around him. Ryan spent the next 3 days in a fog, moving through his daily routine like a ghost. He went to work at the construction site, but his mind was elsewhere, replaying Emily's words over and over again, trying to find some explanation that made sense, but nothing did. His coworkers noticed his distant behavior, but he brushed off their concerns with forced smiles. Emily had moved into the guest bedroom, claiming she needed space to figure things out. Ryan knew the truth. She was texting Jake constantly. He could hear her laughing through the walls late at night. That laugh used to be for him. Now it belonged to someone else, and the sound of it cut deeper than any knife could. On the 4th night, Ryan couldn't take it anymore. He knocked on the guest bedroom door. Emily opened it, looking surprised to see him standing there with such intensity in his eyes. They needed to talk, really talk, not just dance around the elephant in the room that was destroying their marriage. "Tell me everything," Ryan demanded, his voice steady but filled with pain. "I need to know what Jake has that I don't. What did I fail to give you that made you run back to him after all these years?" Emily sat on the bed, and for the first time since this nightmare began, she was completely honest. "Jake and I had this intense, passionate relationship in college," Emily explained. "We were young and reckless, and when we broke up, it wasn't because we stopped loving each other, it was because life pulled us in different directions. When I met you, Ryan, you were stable, kind, everything Jake wasn't." Guilty pause. "But I realize now I never processed losing Jake. I just buried those feelings." "So I was what? Your safe choice? Your backup plan while you pined for the one who got away?" Ryan felt his anger rising, but beneath it was something worse, a deep, crushing sadness that made him want to collapse. Emily shook her head, crying. "No, Ryan, it wasn't like that. I did love you. I do love you.
but Jake reached out saying he made the biggest mistake of his life letting me go, and suddenly I felt alive again. Ryan sat down on the floor, his back against the wall. Defeated posture. So, what happens now? Do you want a divorce? Emily wiped her tears, conflicted expression. I don't know. I need time to explore what Jake and I could be. Maybe we can still be friends, Ryan. You mean so much to me. Friends? Ryan repeated the word like poison. You want to destroy our marriage, chase after your ex, and expect me to just stick around as your friend while you play house with him? Do you hear how insane that sounds? Emily, but you're such a good person, Ryan. I know you'll understand eventually. Intensely manipulative sweetness. In that moment, Ryan saw clearly what he hadn't wanted to admit. Emily was being selfish. She wanted to keep him as her safety net while she pursued her fantasy with Jake. She wanted her cake and to eat it too. And the worst part was, she genuinely believed she wasn't doing anything wrong because she had feelings involved. Sometimes people confuse their feelings with justification. They think because they feel something strongly, it gives them permission to hurt others. Emily had convinced herself that her rekindled passion for Jake made her betrayal acceptable. But feelings don't excuse actions. They never do. Ryan was beginning to understand that love without integrity is just selfishness wearing a romantic mask.
2 weeks passed and Emily officially moved out to stay with her sister. But Ryan knew through a mutual friend named Sarah that Emily was actually spending most nights at Jake's apartment. The lies kept piling up, and with each one, Ryan's heartbreak transformed into something darker, a desire for answers, a need to face the man who helped destroy his marriage. Ryan found Jake's address easily enough. He drove across town to a rundown apartment complex that looked nothing like the life he and Emily had built. The irony wasn't lost on him. This was what she chose? A faded building with peeling paint over their beautiful home? He knocked on apartment 3C. Jake opened the door, a tall guy with messy hair and a cocky smile that immediately made Ryan's blood boil. "Can I help you, man?" Jake asked, clearly not recognizing Ryan from any photos. "I'm Emily's husband," Ryan said flatly. "The husband she's leaving for you." Jake's expression shifted, an uncomfortable laugh. "Oh, hey, look, man, Emily and I have history. You had your time with her, but some connections are just meant to be. You know what I mean?" His casual dismissal of their marriage made Ryan see red, but he forced himself to stay calm. He needed information, not a fight. "I want to know what you told her," Ryan demanded. "What lies did you feed Emily to make her throw away 7 years? How did you manipulate her?" Jake leaned against the doorframe. "Manipulate? Dude, I just told her the truth, that I never stopped loving her, that we had something real before you came along. Sorry if that hurts your feelings, but that's life." Just then, Emily appeared behind Jake. A shocked gasp. "Ryan, what are you doing here?" Her face went pale, seeing her husband and her ex standing face to face. This was her nightmare, the collision of her two worlds. "You need to leave, Ryan. This isn't appropriate." "Isn't appropriate?" Ryan felt something break inside him. "You know what isn't appropriate, Emily? Abandoning your husband for a guy who lives in a dump and clearly hasn't gotten his life together. But hey, if this is what you want, then fine. I just needed to see it for myself." Emily stepped forward, a defensive tone. "Jake is going through a rough patch right now. He lost his job and he's been dealing with depression. I couldn't just ignore him when he needed me." She said it like it was the most noble thing in the world, a righteous expression. But Ryan saw through it now. She was playing savior to feel needed, to feel that rush of being someone's everything. "So you destroyed our marriage to rescue your ex?" Ryan looked at Emily like he was seeing her for the first time. She wasn't the woman he married anymore. Or maybe she always was this person and he had been too blind to see. "Jake needs you, but what about what I needed? What about the promises you made?" Emily started crying. I know I hurt you, Ryan, but you don't understand what it's like to have unfinished business with someone. Jake and I never got our closure. We never got to see if we could make it work as adults. Please try to understand." Ryan took a step back, a distant voice. "I understand perfectly now, Emily. You're chasing a fantasy, and you're willing to sacrifice everything real for it. But here's what you don't get. Jake didn't come back because he loves you. He came back because he needed something and you were available. That's not love, that's convenience." Jake pushed off the doorframe, a threatening posture. "Hey man, you don't know what you're talking about. Emily and I have something special, always have." Ryan ignored him, keeping his eyes on Emily. "When this falls apart, and it will, don't come looking for me. Don't expect me to be your friend or your backup plan. I'm done." He turned and walked away, leaving Emily crying and calling his name. As he drove home, Ryan felt something shift inside him, a determined expression. The pain was still there, sharp and consuming, but alongside it grew a resolve. He wasn't going to be anyone's second choice anymore, not even his own wife's. People often mistake nostalgia for love. They remember the good parts of the past and forget why things ended in the first place. Emily was chasing a memory, not a future, and Jake was using her vulnerability to fill his own empty life. Ryan realized that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is walk away from people who don't value you, even when it breaks your heart to do it.
3 months passed and Ryan threw himself into rebuilding his life. He started going to the gym every morning, channeling his pain into physical strength. His body transformed, but more importantly, his mind cleared. He stopped checking Emily's social media, stopped asking mutual friends about her, and focused solely on becoming a better version of himself. Then, one rainy Tuesday night, his phone rang. It was Sarah, their mutual friend, and she sounded panicked. "Ryan, you need to know something about Emily and Jake," worried voice. "I saw them at a restaurant tonight, and they were arguing badly. Jake was yelling at her, calling her names, and Emily looked terrified. I think you should know what kind of guy he really is." Ryan's first instinct was to rush over there to protect the woman he once loved. Conflicted pause. But he stopped himself. Emily made her choice. She chose Jake over their marriage, over their life together. Why should he care if her fantasy was crumbling? Sarah seemed to read his silence. "I know she's hurt you, Ryan, but she's still a person who might be in danger," concerned tone. "Just think about it." That night, Ryan couldn't sleep, tossing and turning. He kept imagining Emily scared and alone with a man who was showing his true colors. He remembered the Jake from the doorway, that arrogant smirk, that dismissive attitude. What if Sarah was right? What if Jake was dangerous? Anxious thoughts. Despite everything Emily had done, Ryan couldn't shake the feeling that he needed to check on her. The next day, Ryan drove to Jake's apartment complex again, car pulling up. This time, he waited across the street, watching. He saw Emily emerge, looking thin and tired, shocking appearance. Her once bright eyes were hollow, and she moved like someone carrying the weight of the world. She got into her car, and Ryan followed, keeping his distance. Emily drove to a coffee shop and sat alone, staring at her phone. Melancholic atmosphere. Ryan debated going in, but something told him to wait. 20 minutes later, Jake showed up, aggressive entrance, and even from outside, Ryan could see the tension. Jake grabbed Emily's wrist roughly, pulling her close while speaking intensely. His face was red with anger, violent gestures. Ryan was inside before he could think, protective instinct. He walked straight to their table, and Jake looked up, startled. "You again?" Annoyed grunt. "Man, you need to move on. She's not yours anymore." Ryan ignored him and looked at Emily. Her eyes were puffy from crying, and there was a bruise on her arm that made his stomach turn. Horrified realization. "Emily, are you okay?" Ryan asked gently. She looked up at him, and for a moment he saw genuine fear, trembling. Jake stood up, knocking his chair back. "You need to leave right now. This is between me and my girl." Possessive anger. Ryan stood his ground.
I'm not going anywhere until Emily tells me she's safe." The coffee shop had gone quiet, tense silence, everyone watching the confrontation. Emily finally spoke, her voice barely a whisper, defeated tone. "Please, Ryan, just go. I'll be fine. Jake loves me. We just have some things to work through." Her words were hollow, rehearsed, like something Jake had made her practice. But Ryan saw the truth now, clear understanding. Jake didn't love Emily. He had love-bombed her with promises and passion until she left her stable life, and now he was showing his real self, controlling, manipulative, possibly abusive. Emily had traded a loving marriage for a toxic relationship because she confused intensity with love, sad realization. Jake grabbed Emily's arm to pull her up, threatening action. "We're leaving," Jake snarled. "Try to stop us and I'll call the cops for harassment." Ryan let go but pulled out his phone. "I already am calling them. Domestic violence is a crime, and that bruise on her arm tells me everything I need to know." Emily's eyes widened, shocked expression. "Ryan, no, please don't. Jake, it's not what it looks like. He just gets stressed sometimes. I make him angry. It's my fault." Victim mentality. Hearing her blame herself broke Ryan's heart all over again. This was what her choice had led to, not passion and romance, but fear and excuses. Jake realized people were filming on their phones, panicked look. He released Emily and backed away. "You're crazy, man. She fell, that's all. That's happened to the bruise. Emily, tell him." Ryan looked at Emily, waiting. Would she finally tell the truth, or had Jake broken her spirit completely? The silence stretched on, heavy moment, and Ryan saw Emily wrestling with herself. Finally, she whispered, crying softly, "He gets angry sometimes, when things don't go his way, when I don't do what he wants." Confession. "It's been getting worse, but I thought I could help him. I thought my love could change him." There it was, painful truth. Emily had convinced herself she could save Jake, just like she convinced herself leaving Ryan was about following her heart. But love doesn't mean sacrificing your safety, your dignity, your peace. And sometimes the person you think you can save will only drag you down with them. Ryan had learned you can't help someone who doesn't want to help themselves, and Emily was learning that lesson the hardest way possible.
2 months after the disastrous barbecue party, Jack had gathered enough information to understand the full picture of manipulation, betrayal, and hidden agendas surrounding him. Sarah had indeed orchestrated the public revelation as revenge against Mark, but she also saw an opportunity to insert herself into Jack's life as Emily's replacement. Jack confronted Sarah at her home, presenting evidence of her manipulations, including text messages she had sent to Mark trying to seduce him before the affair began. Sarah's mask finally dropped, and she admitted that she wanted Mark to suffer for rejecting her and saw destroying his friendship with Jack as the perfect punishment. She had monitored Emily and Mark's affair carefully, waiting for the pregnancy to maximize the damage her revelation would cause to all parties involved. What we learn from Sarah's vindictive behavior is that using others' mistakes as weapons for personal revenge creates cycles of pain that ultimately harm everyone, including ourselves. Jack told Sarah he wanted nothing more to do with her manipulation games and that she needed professional help to address her unhealthy obsession and vindictive tendencies. He then met with Emily at a neutral location where she apologized profusely and explained that she had decided to raise the baby alone without burdening anyone further. Emily acknowledged her selfishness and how her inability to communicate her unhappiness in their marriage had led to destructive choices that hurt everyone she claimed to love. Jack admitted he couldn't forgive her yet and didn't know if he ever could, but he appreciated her honesty and wished her well in her journey forward. Mark had moved away from the neighborhood, unable to face the judgment and broken relationships his actions had caused, leaving behind his own wreckage and damaged reputation. Through everything, Lily remained a steady presence, helping Jack process his emotions and rebuild his sense of self-worth after such profound betrayal and manipulation.
Jack filed for divorce and began therapy to work through his trust issues and understand how he had missed so many warning signs in his marriage. 6 months later, Jack had sold the house, moved to a new neighborhood, and started rebuilding his life with hard-won wisdom about trust, boundaries, and authentic relationships. The ultimate lesson from this painful story is that selfishness destroys trust, communication prevents betrayal, and true character reveals itself in how people handle their mistakes and take responsibility for the harm they cause to others.